Welcome back, everybody, and thank you again for tuning in to another episode of Prosteshia Please, honey, where we're going to talk a little bit about politics, a little bit about sociology, but a whole lot of bullshit, okay? So, on the very first young lady that I'm going to introduce to you to my right is Miss Katia. And the next young lady that we have is Miss Esther. And today, these two young ladies are going to help us discuss some things that are going on in social media called gender wars. Now, before you get all your panties in a bunch, we do have a second segment where we will have men on so that they can defend themselves. But on today, we're going to have each gender to make sure that they get out their pet peeves. We come together, we talk about it, and then we come to a possible resolution. So we may not come to the end of the line with the gender wars today, but honey, hopefully today we have a little step forward. And without further ado, we're going to start with our first question. So ladies, we're going to start with Miss Esther.
Oh, Lord.
Give me at least 3 pet peeves.
Of the opposite sex?
About the opposite sex.
Okay. My first pet peeve is when males, underestimate my intelligence. When they try to run game or when they try to, gaslight or try to manipulate you because you're a woman, or if I say something and I have irrefutable proof, they're like, oh, you must be emotional, you must be on your period. I'm like,
What's another one?
all right, a second one, I guess for me a pet peeve, another one with the males is the whole dumb thinking that they can't be in a relationship until they, achieve a certain level of success in their jobs. So they're like, oh, I can't, because, I'm trying to build. And then all of a sudden, then they get older, like, oh, I want to settle down.
Well, now, I'm going to say, for that second pet peeve, now I agree. I want you to be established before you come into these streets over here. So I can't say that I disagree with them on that one, but I get you.
No,
I understand.
I'm not saying, go broke central. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
Definitely not. But I'm saying I think I'm in my 40s. So males our age, typically they're it's a certain level, not just you want to make 6 figures. They want to go all the way. And they're like, yeah, I'm not ready yet. I'm not established. And then by the time it's okay, time is ticking.
Right.
So that's another pet peeve of mine. And the third pet peeve is just dudes that want to cry about child support all the damn time. I hate, that's one conversation that I just wish would die.
Yeah. I too hate the child support conversation. If you don't want to pay child support, my suggestion is you go get full custody. But that's neither here nor there. We'll get to that in a minute.
But okay. One thing I would say is I don't like a posing guy, for pictures and social media, XYZ, take my picture. That's a turn off for me.
Okay.
So I don't really like to deal with that, but
selfie Sam.
I can't do a selfie Sam because it turns into a selfie Samantha. But something else I don't like when people complain when I'm late because I'm gonna be late. I'm just not good with time.
Same. Deal with it. Deal with it.
Yeah. So
I get it. Now, let me just say, I am a habitually late person, but for whatever reason, I always attract men that are type A on-time person, and I drive them crazy.
Oh, I'm sure.
So I'm trying. Pray for me, because that's a struggle. Now, I got 3 pet peeves, okay? Y'all ready? Okay. My very first pet peeve when it comes to the male gender is one thing that I absolutely hate that's become a huge part of our culture is and I always speak for black people because I don't know what the white folks doing, okay? I only see what the melanated folks doing. But there's always a conversation about black women in education.
Mm-hmm.
Hated it, okay? I think, especially with our community owning less than 1% of the world's wealth, as a man, I think it's super important that y'all do start caring about what your partner has because it will work out for you in the end. It'll set you guys on a different way to get to wealth, generational wealth. Okay, so that's one pet peeve. My next pet peeve is a guy who has a temper issue. Now, I don't care what y'all say. I know the men are going to have their way, and I don't care. I see you looking at me. I don't care. But I believe men are very emotional. I actually believe men are more emotional than women.
They are.
They just
Absolutely.
high five.
They are.
Absolutely.
They are.
Boom.
boom.
Absolutely.
They are.
So I don't hate that you guys are emotional. I hate that a lot of men do not know how to properly channel their emotions, and they are very timid about showing their emotions. And they're very accusatory of women being over emotional. So I think that's a huge projection. I don't care if you're mad. And my very last pet peeve, which I have a whole bunch, but these are the top 3, okay? My very last pet peeve. Now, don't get me wrong. Now, I love them. Now, I love them. I love them. As soon as this air, my, you know who's gonna be like, girl, what? But my last pet peeve that just really irks my soul, and I promise God I wasn't gonna talk about this man no more. But Samuelites. A super Samuelite really rattles my soul. Okay. All right. I got that shit off my chest. We gonna talk a little bit about it. So let me ask you, with all the things that we've named, like what are some of the things that you think us as women have contributed to the culture of whatever we feel like men are falling short in?
Think for women is that women have allowed so much. Like nowadays women are so pressed, they're so thirsty that they just have no standards. And before, if you look at back in the days, I'm an 80s baby. So back in the days, if a guy was trying to get with you and try to get your number, like he had to actually put in work.
Right.
He didn't just go and buy you a 2-piece at Popeyes with a biscuit and was like, hey, let's Netflix and chill with, a half pint of Hennessy.
So those women are called pick-meshas. If you don't know what a pick-mesha is, this is a pick-mesha.
Yeah.
Read it real slow.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Those are the type of women I'm talking about. I think that, now women have allowed guys to gaslight them and be like, oh, well, if you don't do this, you're going to die with 50 cats. Like you have to accept it. It's almost like my biggest thing is I feel like society tells women that of every other race, they can have the world in a man. But Black women, you have to always subscribe to struggle love. And I do not subscribe to that at all.
Same.
At all.
Now, that's a good one. Pick-meshas, and I'm sure men are going to say simps are the ones that...
Yeah, of course.
What about you?
Well, I think that, our biggest thing that I think we hinder each other from like being able to embrace and like
Right.
fully be together is just identifying that we're different. Like our man is
true.
different. So the
That's
way
true.
that you process and the way that a male process are two totally different ways. So just having a little bit more patience maybe, because I think that with us being like going through carrying children, labor, always caring and nurturing and all
Right.
those things,
Right.
it just gives an extra layer of seriousness to us.
Right.
And, all of us need to keep our youth, but there's definitely active kids and all these kings out here.
Right.
It's just all about balancing, making sure that the kid doesn't outweigh the king. But I think that would be like something that kind of creates
true.
a little bit of a challenge, is that just like identifying that we're different, and then sometimes like just relax, we're serious, we have a lot of things going on, but just get into your kid and then just like be able to vibe and enjoy the company of the male, because it's nothing like it. I don't know.
Now, that's true.
Hard
Ain't
body
nothing like a good man.
Yes.
Ain't nothing like a good...
I'm telling you. So that's why I said I don't understand that same sex stuff.
Oh, no, girl. We're not going to get into that. We love the LGBTQ. We love
Yeah.
I
you.
do, but I definitely
Well, we're going to cover it again. I got a sequel coming, but stay tuned. Now, when I talk, I got to take it over the edge.
Girl.
I think two things that have absolutely empowered some simpletons is podcast ministries.
Oof.
I mean, mine included. Okay. But I think a lot of the rhetoric that goes into these podcasts, that a lot of Black men, and don't get me wrong, I love you all to death, but the saddest thing that I've noticed is podcasts mean nothing unless you are bashing Black women.
Facts.
And I said I would never. I'm not going to talk bad about him, but I did go back and I watched some of Kevin Samuels and rest. I watched some of Kevin Samuels' podcast, especially in the earlier stages,
it was
he was a lot more meek. He did speak more towards men. And I do feel like the super Samuelites don't really have fathers, which is so sad. So I think lack of fatherhood in the home is what really amplified Kevin Samuels, because honestly, some of the things that he did teach was important. Because I do know that there are a genre of men who don't wipe in between their butts because it's gay. If that's not you, don't raise your hand. But it's a genre of men out there. I've heard of them. Okay. So I feel like his platform, and I actually said this today, I feel like his platform would have really surmounted had he found a way to not be condescending and cruel to people. Because I watched a video today that said it's not always what you say. You can tell the truth. It is absolutely your delivery, whether or not people will receive it. And because Black women, I mean, I'm just going to give us the props. Whenever we get involved with anything, we turn that thing to gold. Anything. Athletics, look at LSU. That fiasco going to the White House. But, any and everything that we get involved with, everyone emulates us. In my honest opinion, we are the pinnacle of emulation, especially when it comes to women. Our butts, our breasts, our lips. You know what I'm saying? Everybody wants to emulate the culture, but nobody wants to be in the struggle, okay? I can't remember who said that.
Somebody powerful.
Yeah, somebody powerful. I'll put the name at the bottom. I'm terrible with names. But anywho, those are some of the things that I absolutely hate. I hope podcast culture changes, whereas they can pivot from shitting on Black women to saying, I love you, I'm there for you, I want to be there for you, we're going to retake our place at the top of our community, XYZ. And that is no shade to any men out here who are really doing their thing, any men who are really like working hard and doing well by not only their communities, but their families. But to the rest of y'all who just out here shitting on women, please go to hell.
Amen.
With gasoline draws. So yeah, that's that. I think so. I'm going to start with myself in this next. The next question is, personally, like, what are some examples that you guys have experienced? And I know I'm trying to be like you in a cloud of. But
That's what I said. I was like,
oh,
good bless.
Yes. But what are some of the things that you've experienced personally that could have possibly created some bias when it comes to the other gender?
I think for me, it was probably joining the military, because prior to that, of course, I grew up in South Florida. But I was, I'm of Haitian background. So I grew up in a very conservative, strict Haitian household. Where they love their Jesus. You know what I'm saying? You're just going to get Jesus. We ain't get nothing else. We're just going to get you some Jesus.
Come on, Jesus.
And so, I grew up in a 2-parent household, same mother, same father, 4 other siblings by the same person. My mom, my dad was 17 years older than my mom. In Haiti, they could do stuff like that. And, she was a virgin when she got married.
Wow.
He was a preacher. So for me, that's everybody that I knew was, you went to church, their mom and dad were together. Yeah. And then, I would go to school, but I didn't get to go to parties and stuff like that. So, and I never drank, I never smoked weed. I was, pretty much, I was
a good girl.
Yeah, I mean, my mouth and stuff was still reckless, but for, by all intents and purposes, I was. So when I joined the military and I had freedom and, people are drinking and stuff like that, I was naive. And I remember the first time this guy was like, hey, like, let's chill. I was like, okay, cool. And we're chilling. And he's like, oh, let me give you a massage. And I'm like, oh, I'm 19. I'm dumb.
We all know how this ended.
Girl. But it didn't end like that. No. But, well. So I'm like, okay. He's like massaging my little shoulders and everything like that. But then he's all like trying to remove my shirt and, remove my bra. I'm like, what kind of massage is this? He's like, oh, like, the clothes is hindering me. Like, I have to get to, and I'm just like... And it was just like so many little incidents like that where as a 19-year-old, like, people were always trying to see, like, how they could screw. And I was just
right.
So that kind of, and then I watched even some of my homeboys back then who were all married, and I watched them cheat like nobody's business. And then I watched them go right up to their wife and pass the person they was cheating on their wife with and be like, hey, and and that right there for me was just like, it was kind of like, I was just like, you know what? Like, I'm like, men are, there's something else. And then I watch all the, married men trying to, jump in your inbox, but then one day they're in your inbox telling you like all the disgusting things that they would like to do to you, but then the very next day telling you, making a post about their wife and how she's the greatest woman on earth and how they couldn't be the man that they are without their wife. And so now it's not that I'm bitter. I just look at these men and I'm like, I see how y'all making y'all wives and y'all girlfriends and y'all significant others look stupid as hell. And that will never, and I mean ever, be me.
I understand, child. Damn.
Yeah.
So do you have a wall up?
You know what? Not a wall. I just now, because the older I get, before, I'm telling you, I was dumb. I did a lot of dumb stuff that I was just like.
We all did. Shit,
Yeah,
you
and
couldn't love, wasn't.
Yeah, and I could, and I always used to like consult with my homeboys, like, well, he said this. What do you think it means? It could mean, and I'm just like, and they're like, dude, it means exactly what the hell he just said.
Right.
Don't interject something other than what he's saying. So now, I don't think I have a wall. I think I watch what they do, not what they say.
Right.
If your actions and your words don't align, then it's bullshit.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think I'm more guarded, but I'm not bitter. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I just hold men accountable just like I hold women accountable, because I think in this society, men are always talking about women need accountability, but women are always blamed for everything. So in a way, It's like men don't ever have to take accountability. And so when they meet someone that holds them accountable, they're like, oh, you hate men, or you're a feminist. I don't hate men. I love men. I have men that love me.
Right.
I just hate bullshit.
Right.
And I think if we together, both men and women,
Tell
black
the truth.
men and women, if we come together and work together instead of working against each other, then we would just change the entire world.
Yes, absolutely.
But we ain't gonna do that.
I feel like this is gonna be a pivotal point, because even me, like, I had to change. Like, I could not keep talking about they Lord and Savior like that. I had to stop talking about Kevin Samuels. Like, I feel like God was like, all right, now, girl, don't talk about it no more. I said, okay, God, I ain't gonna do it. So I don't talk bad about him anymore. Now, I will mention some things like, but I promised God that I would not talk bad about that man like that anymore. Now, I might mention a few things, but I'm scared of God. I ain't scared of you niggers, okay? Oh, should I say niggas? Okay, we can scratch that out.
We should leave that in.
Yeah. Leave that in. Look. What about you?
Well, for me, I would initially have said like the way that they value sex, the intimacy, but in 2023, I think the women and the men are
We added the cheat back code is on. Yeah.
Right. So, and just for me and my endeavors, like I grew up in a 2-parent household. My mom and dad are still together. They're actually with me right now. And I'm watching them and their love story continue. But for me, I think what really helps me is being intentional about developing a friendship.
Right.
To make a connection so that we're able to go beyond just sex.
Yeah.
Right. So that's my big thing. But I would have said the same thing she said before when it relates to like how they value women and our intimacy levels. Right. It would be something that I would be like, I don't like that, because we put so much into it.
Right.
It's such a big exchange for us, and it's not the same for them. They can literally pull their pants up and like, what's your name again?
Yeah.
But now the women are doing that too, so.
Yeah.
So
Brittany Renner is, what is it? Brittany Renner culture?
Yes.
I ain't mad at her.
It's kind of hard to see, to identify just, like what holds you back or make you feel biased towards the male gender. It's more so like just being mindful of where you shop for the people that you're going to have in your environment. You know, you're not going to go to, Target and get Neiman Marcus. So
there you go.
Quality stuff. And then being able to ensure that you guys are open-minded to develop a healthy relationship, to engage, so that, you know, you guys both can enjoy, so we don't, you know, have to get into disconnects and all those things. So that's kind of my view on it.
True. Okay. Well, let me just tell you, I'm gonna take it too far again.
Please do.
Okay. So I'm gonna piggyback up off of what you said as well. The way men value sex. It's almost crazy. One of the things, again, I hate to bring up KS again, but he was absolutely correct that a man of value, even a woman of value, is very careful about who they let inside of them, or who they put their penis inside of, or who they put semen inside of. So the thing that I hate when men say, oh, women are not accountable, but then they go on to say, well, Black women are number one for being single moms. Well, sweetie, being a single mom is actually a form of accountability for all of the N-words who don't think that that is a form of accountability. Taking care of something that you helped to create is absolutely accountability. So those are just some of the things. For me, the huge thing right now is just podcast culture, just the men talking about women. That has really like made my liver quiver. Like, I hate it. I really hate it, and I hope that somehow it just completely turns around, because I'm tired of them talking about. I'm tired of fighting with y'all.
But
every day
sells.
It does.
So negativity sells.
It does.
Yeah, unfortunately.
It really
but
does.
then it also is reprogramming, because what you associate yourself with is what you're, you know, penetrating.
Yeah, but I think there's a even more important level that I think a lot of people miss, is that a lot of it has to do with mental health too. A lot of these guys are unhealed. They have daddy issues. They have mommy issues. Some of them were molested. They were beat up. So that's why you have so many angry dudes. Because you often hear guys talk about, angry women, but there are equally, if not more, angry, bitter men that are just out there, and they're just spewing hatred and venom. And so now you have somebody that it's like Trump supporters.
Oh Lord.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like you give them fuel, you empower them. So of course this man is dead, and they made a fan page for the man. It's ridiculous. Like, and I look at these dudes, because when I say you cannot say anything against their Lord and Savior. And when I found out he passed, and, in the manner that he did, I am not going to lie, I did. I
roasted him to no return.
I triggered
I'm sorry.
him so bad on TikTok.
I roasted the shit out of him, but I ain't going to do it no more, God.
Yeah, I'm a better human being now.
Yes, I'm better too, child. I'm in recovery. But let me tell you about the anger. This is what, okay, so even with this show, this is a little personal ziz for me. With this show, we put up a fake pregnancy announcement. It was a pregnancy announcement. I am not pregnant. That's just a fupa, and we put up a fake sonogram. Now, if you zoom into the sonogram, we're going to put the sonogram right here. No, first of all, before we put the sonogram, here's the picture, okay? I put this on my social media. Right? The guy behind me is just somebody that I had on my show. He doesn't even like vagina, okay? So then I put up this picture. The sonogram. Now, if you zoom into the sonogram, it says it's a podcast, okay? Now, I got cussed out a couple times that particular day, as the main one who's probably going to watch the show because he's off and he still needs help. The main one, he stalks my Facebook page still, right? I took a nap after I posted it. I don't know why I do that. I'll post something, start some shit, and then I'll go to sleep. So I posted it, and I wake up to this long text message. I was every bitch and hoe in the book, right? Over a fake pregnancy announcement. And me and this person, we are not together. Like, we're done. Like, that incident is done. And just being ugly for no reason. And just, he's one of those individuals who, just spouts out for no reason. For whatever reason, I seem to attract people who got short tempers. Now, I don't have a short temper, but when I get there, beware. Okay. And so, that's why I say I feel like all of us really as Black people need therapy, but especially the men in our community, because I think a lot of them don't even realize that they have emotional issues, right? And I even dated a guy one time. He was so crazy. He used to show up to my job and stuff, like, okay? So I really do think us as a people need to seek therapy. Now, if you guys want some references for therapists, here goes some right here. Black therapists, Black male therapists, pause it, zoom in. Okay. I think we all need it. I think we got to start from the top, and we're going to start today. And I just want to thank you, ladies. I thank us as women for taking a little bit of accountability. Like, I know the things that I've done. You know, I done ghosted some men. I done left some men on red. I done told somebody I wasn't single when I really was, you know, stuff like that. I know I've done my part, but I think we all need to just make sure that we communicate effectively. Like you said, also meet people where they are, not necessarily compromise, but meet people where and understand them. I appreciate you for being a medium, because you know me.
Girl.
Okay.
That's what I said. She's like such a breath of fresh air.
Beautiful. I love. Okay. Feminine. Okay. I'm masculine. It is what it is. Okay. Talk my shit, okay? But anywho, so I appreciate this is the segment for the women. Fellas, get ready to show your behind.